Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. We've got some interesting things to talk about today, the first of which is a new report that has come out regarding Saturn's very mysterious moon, Titan, and the fact that they have discovered a very mysterious and what they're calling a, quote, impossible cloud that they've spotted hovering high in Titan's atmosphere. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Titan is the largest moon of Saturn. It's a beautiful moon, very, very mysterious. And we've talked about this moon a couple times before in our past videos, and how I personally believe that there's a very good chance of some sort of alien life on this moon. And what makes Titan so strange? Well, the fact that it's a moon, and yet it's very much like our own planet, in that it has its own atmosphere. You're seeing images here where the moon is actually covered. You can't even see the surface because it is surrounded by these thick, dense methane clouds. And it has a climate system very similar to Earth. Not only that, but it is the only other body in our entire solar system that we know of that has liquid on its surface. And I'm not talking about just some ice particles in its atmosphere or maybe some frozen ice down under its surface. I am talking about massive liquid lakes and rivers, like the size of Lake Erie, that are composed of liquid hydrocarbons, like methane. So it has these giant methane lakes on its surface, has this beautiful thick atmosphere, has a climate system very similar to Earth. And we're learning new things about it every day, and when the Cassini spacecraft was flying by it, it spotted this giant mysterious ice cloud, which in actuality should not exist. It shouldn't be there. You're seeing the images of that cloud here. And basically what they're saying is that it should not exist because the gases that are needed for this cloud to be able to condense and form were not detected in its atmosphere. In fact, the stratosphere, where the cloud formed, contains less than 1% of the gas needed for the cloud's creation. And the gas I'm talking about is called C4N2, or dicyanoacetylene. Try saying that 5 times fast. But that is the chemical, the gas that is needed for this cloud to form. And basically, it doesn't exist. So how did the cloud form? They don't know. And according to our current understanding of the laws of thermodynamics, it shouldn't be there. Lead researcher Carrie Anderson from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center said, and I quote, "The appearance of this ice cloud goes against everything we know about the way clouds form on Titan." So basically they're trying to figure out how this cloud formed. And one of their theories is that the process with which it formed is something very similar that happens here on Earth. And that could be the key to understanding this. But no matter what their theory, it still won't matter because it all leads back to the main problem of this specific type of gas that is just non-existent in the stratosphere. So again, they're calling it the impossible cloud, and the numbers don't compute for the cloud's creation, so they're stumped about it. You're seeing some beautiful images of what the planet looks like when you actually get a peek through the thick orange glaze surrounding it. And it's very similar to Earth. It's basically like a frozen Earth, as you would have expected the Earth to look maybe 1 billion years ago. It's one of the most beautiful bodies in our entire solar system, and it looks like a planet. Although it's designated as a moon, it's like a planet, complete with giant, beautiful, sprawling mountains and rolling dunes on its surface, along with a dense, rich atmosphere and these massive, stable pools of liquid that are on its surface. And we've actually seen waves moving through these giant bodies of water down on the surface, and we've also landed on Titan back in 2005. And you're seeing some of the images that were snapped by the Huygens probe as it flew through the atmosphere and touched down on the surface. And so we're learning new things about Titan every day. I will put a link in the video description to a past video we've done on Titan that goes a little bit more in depth, so be sure to check that out. And this is just a perfect example of how much we don't know about these bodies in our solar system. And I believe that there are going to be two specific bodies in our solar system that we will likely find life one day. One of them is Europa, the moon of Jupiter, which we spoke about in our last video, and Titan. Now, check out this weird UFO video from a high school in Houston, Texas.
Bro, what is that?
The car can stay right here. I'm going to... You got it?
Yay! What is
Why
that?
you so slow?
Bro, that show is in the sky. Like, what is that?
Alright, so this was sent over by Alec, who lives in Houston, Texas, and goes to a high school called J. Frank Dobie High School. The source stated that they were on campus a couple days ago, and while their friend was on Snapchat, they happened to catch this video of this weird shaped thing moving slowly through the sky, which at times would stop dead in its tracks in midair and just sort of sit there. And although it's a Snapchat video, so it's very short, we're trying to give you the best view here, and this is very different from the UFO sightings we normally see. This one isn't so easily explainable to me. I mean, many of them aren't, but, you know, some of them we may find out that it's a drone or possibly a balloon, but then you have sightings like this that just kind of make you sit back and say, what could this be? I mean, it's really weird. It has no defined shape to it. I've never seen a balloon that looks like this, and to my knowledge, balloons don't stop in their tracks and sit in the same position. And I don't know, there's just something really, really weird about this. So anyone who goes to this high school in Houston, shoot me an email if you've seen this thing or have a different shot of it, maybe some longer video footage. Be sure to send it over. Now, we have some very strange new findings on the planet Mars that we want to go over with you guys today. Now, both of these are, in my opinion, well worth a look. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So let's go ahead and start off here. We're on Google Mars here, and we'll go ahead and zoom down to the surface to what was described in the viewer's email who discovered these things as two giant saucer-shaped structures towering up out of the Martian surface. So here we are. I will put the coordinates to these down below. And already from just where we're looking, you can see that these things look as if they're partially buried in the ground, and yet you can see where they have risen up. You can see the sunlight reflecting off at the top of them. So they're definitely three-dimensional objects. And so let's go ahead and zoom in on each one. Here is the first one, and this one's really strange. This one has sort of a oval-shaped attachment on the top here, along with what looks like a circular indentation, possibly a crater, right in the middle of it. And let's move on to the other one. We have yet again another, I mean, these look like saucers. Do they not? We have a circular base here. We have an inner circle, which is rising up in sort of a cone saucer shape. And you can see the sunlight reflecting off of the side here of each one of these objects. So these are not just flat craters. The sun is shining from the left of the screen, hitting these large cone-shaped tops of these things. And they look like your typical flying saucer shape. And so I measured these things, and each one of them is from 1 to 2.5 miles long. So these things are huge, and they really stand out. I mean, they don't look like they belong. There's nothing else around them that looks anything like them. We'll just kind of give you a shot here. I mean, you can see it's just these two objects that look like they're buried. They're partially buried in the surface. And there's a long crack in the ground leading from one to the other. So, I mean, let me know what you guys think. We have these two saucer-shaped, three-dimensional, mile-long objects buried into the ground, creating cracks around them. There's nothing else like them in this map or in the area. You can put in the coordinates yourself and go and check these out. Now, another very anomalous structure found on Mars sent in by a separate viewer, which is even more bizarre, is what you're going to see here. So let's go ahead and zoom back in, and I want you to put your attention to this area here that I'm circling. So let's go ahead and zoom in, and if you guys haven't noticed it yet, I want you to check out this huge rectangular block. It almost looks like a skyscraper, a building laying on its side, right next to this very deep crater, or what the viewer called a hole. Because if you look around at the other craters, you can see the bottoms. You can see the sunlight hitting them. They're all pretty shallow. But then we have this crater here, which looks very deep. You don't see a bottom to it. And oddly enough, we have connecting directly to the crater is this large rectangular cut object casting a shadow next to it. And look at this. It's perfectly casting a shadow. It's got a near perfect rectangular shape to it with sharp edges. I'll go ahead and outline it here. And it's parked or sitting right at the edge of this, what looks like a crater, or just a very deep hole. And we've seen these holes or caverns on the surface before, as well as on the moon. And so let's go ahead and spin around here, just to give you a view of what this looks like from all angles. We'll sort of rotate this here, and I'll put the coordinates to this down below. But this really struck me because, I mean, look at it. It is a giant rectangular block. I mean, it does not look natural. And I've also measured this, which comes to a length of 3.4 miles long. And, yeah, you guys take a look at that and tell me if that looks natural. Tell me if you think that either of these Mars findings look natural. I've never seen a 3-mile long block. I mean, it almost looks like a cutout rectangular block sitting on the edge of this crater here, casting this big shadow next to it. And this doesn't look right. So big thanks to the sources for sending these in. Coordinates are down below. Check them out. Let me know what you guys think. And while we're on the topic of strange things off of our planet, we have a new UFO sighting taken from the Soho viewer that was originally discovered and posted by the YouTube channel Mayenhausen74. And this was captured on the 21st, just a couple days ago. You're seeing an image of our sun here. And I want you to take your attention to this object to the left of the sun shooting out what looks like a beam or a laser of some sort, at the end of which we see this small dot, this smaller UFO at the end of it. And it really does look like something shooting a laser or something. And the theory was put forward by Scott Waring over at UFO Sightings Daily, that there's a possibility this smaller object at the end of this what looks like a beam could be a drone of some sort that was sent out to the sun to harvest energy from the sun. And we've done plenty of videos showing objects siphoning energy from the sun. So that's been documented. That's not a fairy tale, all right? We've documented that. We've shown you video of it. There are objects that have been captured sucking plasma bands from the sun and then moving out of view of the camera. So those things are there. So what the theory was is that this smaller object is a drone siphoning energy, and we have a larger ship using sort of maybe a tractor beam to pull this drone in. And that's what you're seeing captured momentarily in this Soho viewer. But that's just a theory, obviously. But it's still a very anomalous photograph, so you guys can check it out for yourselves. Let me know what you guys think. And, just a very interesting find. So shout out to Mayenhausen74 for posting that up. Now, lastly, before we end today's video, I want to show you a very strange set of structures found on Area 51 on Google Earth. So here we are on Google Earth. Never a shortage of interesting and mysterious things on there. And we'll go ahead and zoom in here. We see this sort of strange balloon-shaped object, very big, very large, towering high above the buildings, casting this long shadow down below. It sort of looks like a hot air balloon from the shadow. However, I doubt that this is a hot air balloon sitting at Area 51, one of the most secretive bases known to man. So we have this opaque, see-through, giant balloon-looking structure. Now, I'm not saying it's a balloon, I'm just saying that's what it looks like. And the first theory that comes to mind, well, could this be a weather balloon? Possibly, but usually weather balloons are not this uniformly circular like you're seeing this is. I mean, whatever this thing is, it is a perfect circle, perfect sphere, whereas weather balloons are more flimsy and won't give you this beautiful spherical shape here. But that's not the only object. If we move over to the left, about a quarter of a mile away, we see another large circular object towering above, attached to a long pole, as we can see from the shadow below, which is also opaque and see-through, but it's very different from the first object, texture-wise. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the two objects. And you can see, although both of them are circular, relatively the same shape, the texture of each of them and the material, whatever it is very different. Furthermore, the tripods that they are connected to have different structures as well. So what could these be? I doubt they're water towers or anything like that. They wouldn't be see-through if they were. I doubt they're weather balloons, simply because they are attached to what look like solid, sturdy tripods. And so what could they be? Very strange, sent in by a viewer. Let me know what you guys think. We found a lot of weird stuff at Area 51. I mean, you guys can check it out yourselves. A lot of strange things. And so, whatever these things are, possibly secret testing of something. I mean, I don't know. There's so much weird stuff there. It's just, a lot of it is likely so secret that it's beyond comprehension, what we're seeing, basically. So we can only speculate. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. New mysteries every day. We know nothing about the universe with which we live. Check out our past videos on Titan. And by the way, before I leave you guys today, I just want to give you all a fair warning. If you've got a webcam on your computer, especially if you have a laptop or a camera, a webcam, stick a little piece of tape over it, because you never know who might be watching, especially after the director of the FBI warned about this and admitted himself during an interview with the U.S. Department of Justice Assistant Attorney General John Carlin that he puts a little piece of scotch tape over his webcam, because you honestly never know who's watching, especially in our world today with some of the most advanced surveillance technologies known to man. Couple that with the prevalence of hacking groups like Anonymous, and especially when it comes to the realm of conspiracies and alternative media and stuff like we're doing here and the stuff that you're watching, all of which is tracked by Google, all of which is being tracked and monitored by the NSA, you never know who might be looking. And when you have the director of the FBI, James Comey, who stated that it was, quote, a sensible thing to do and a good idea to obstruct your webcam with a piece of tape, then I'll take his word for it. Be sensible and cautious when using your devices, especially in today's world, and stick around because I've got a lot more coming. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you back in just a bit with much, much more. Stay safe, guys.